Now I'm gonna start working from southeast isometric. So click custom view and select southeast, and I'm gonna start a line as a guide from the center of this circle up to the very top, and the distance is 24 inches. I'm just gonna bring this to home first. So L for line, click anywhere on the screen and travel upward for 24 inches and enter. Now I'm just gonna turn off the grid, and for the tabletop the diameter is 24. So C for circle, click the endpoint, type D for diameter option and enter 24. And the thickness of the tabletop is 1 unit as shown here. So what I'm gonna do is extrude this circle. So EXT for extrude command, or you can go to the modeling panel and select extrude and select the object, enter, bring your cursor downward for 1 inch. I'm just gonna change this to X-ray and press the shift key and the wheel of your mouse at the same time to turn the tabletop around, and then type C again and snap that circle, type D for diameter option and enter 22 inches. Now, and the thickness for this one, I think this is the apron, circular apron of the circle is 1.5. So highlight that circle, extrude, move it downward for 1.5. Now I'm gonna poke a hole through this apron, and the diameter for that hole is 21.2. So C for circle, snap that center, type D for diameter option and enter 21.2. Now to poke a hole through the apron, go to the modeling panel and select press pull command, hover over the face, and once it turns blue, just left click quickly, release your finger, move your cursor or move your mouse upward to bring the cursor upward, and left click again. And I'm just gonna show you by using conceptual, and you can see the hole. Now I'm gonna bring my drawing to front view to create the leg. And as shown here, the distance from the center of this circle up to this point here, half of the against half of the thickness of the apron is 22.25. So I'm going to draw a line and bring it upward for 22.25. Now I'm going to draw an arc from this endpoint to that endpoint. So I'm going to go inside the draw panel and click this drop down arrow and select start end radius option of that arc, and click the endpoint here, click the endpoint downward and enter the radius for 15.26 as shown here. So 15.26. Now, and the thickness for that arc is 0.2. So what I'm gonna do is use offset command. So O for offset and enter 0.2. Click the arc, click beside that arc and enter. Now I'm gonna do trimming. So TR for trim command, enter twice. Remove this thingy that's sticking out, this one. And for here, I can delete this one. And I'm gonna draw a line from endpoint, and you can click anywhere here as long as it's straight. This is just gonna be the boundary. So EX for extend command, enter twice. Click this arc to extend, and then press the shift key to trim. Now if we look closely here, you can see that the center of this circle is 0.15 from the line connecting this endpoint and this endpoint. So I'm going to draw a line as a guide again from midpoint, move it downward for 0.15. I'm going to draw a circle, click that endpoint and just snap that endpoint. And if I double click this one, you can see that the diameter for this circle is 0.42 and as shown here. Alright, so time to clean up. I'm gonna do trimming. So TR for trim command, enter twice, remove this one, remove this, and remove this one. I'm gonna join the segments. So type J for join command, right click, and window the whole thing. Let me check if this is already one object. It looks like it is one object, so I'm just gonna extrude, and the thickness for this leg is 0.8 as shown here. So extrude, select the object and enter, and as you can see, it's not working because somewhere the segment is not connected properly. So if you zoom in and look closely here, see there's a gap. So what I'm gonna do is trim. So TR for trim command, enter twice, and just remove this one here, and then join the segments again. So J for join command, and just window the whole thing. Now we can try. So extrude, EXT for extrude command, and extrude it for 0.8. Now this is solid. So if you double click, you can tell it's solid, and it's showing here it's solid in the properties. Now I'm gonna array this leg, but first I'm gonna draw a circle, and since it's the edge or the tip is leaning against this wall here of the apron, and the diameter for this one is 20.8. So I'm gonna draw a circle. So bring this to top view, and C for circle, click anywhere on the screen, type D for diameter option, and enter 20.8. Alright, so I'm gonna move this leg, move from the tip, the midpoint of the tip of this leg, and move it and attach it to the quadrant. So shift right click and just hover over and locate the quadrant. You can tell it's quadrant because of the diamond symbol. And I'm gonna bring this to top view, and I'm gonna type in AR for array, and just select polar from the choices here. Select the object, right click, and specify center point of array, and use the center of the circle. Just hover over on the side, and you can see the center by because of the plus sign. Just snap that, and right click, select items, and change the items to 4, and enter again. Now if we turn the drawing around, so this is how it looks. And now I'm gonna extrude this one, but first I'm gonna draw, and the thickness for this thingy here is for the apron is the difference between 20.8 and 21.2. So what I'm gonna do is draw another circle, snap the center, type D for diameter option, and enter 21.2, and enter. Now the thickness of this one is 1.5. So what I'm gonna do is, because this one, the tip is leaning against the halfway of this apron, so what I'm gonna do is extrude halfway, and use press pull command to extrude halfway downward again. So just hover over between the two circles, and once the color of the rings or the circle turns blue, just left click, release your finger, move your cursor upward, and enter 0.75. And press the shift key and the wheel of your mouse at the same time. Hover over the face, left click, move downward, wait again, press pull, just this one here, just this face, left click, release your finger, and enter 0.75. Now the total thickness is 1.5. Alright, and the next thing to draw for this table is the stretcher. And I'm going to check the distance from the edge to the top of this stretcher is 10.35. So I'm just going to bring my drawing to front view and draw a line from quadrant, or I'm just going to draw a line from the center. I'm going to change this to wireframe. So L for line, and shift right click, select center, and you can see that it's the circle, so we're snapping the center of this edge here and bring it downward for 10.35. Now this is where we're gonna create the circle with for this wood, the diameter is 11 and the second one is 11.4. And as you can see here, the UCS has changed. Make sure, because we're gonna draw the circle on the XY plane, so just go inside the coordinates panel, click the Z axis vector. If you point this upward, click anywhere on the screen, point this upward. Now we have the XY plane here, because this is where we're gonna draw the circle. So circle, click the endpoint, type D for diameter option, enter, and enter 11. Alright, so I'm just gonna bring this to front view. I wanna see if it touches. It doesn't. This one doesn't have to touch. So I'm gonna extrude this one. Not extend. EXT for extrude command. Extrude this one for. Wait, I wanna see the thickness. It's 0.8. Alright, so EXT again for extrude command. Click that. And just move your cursor downward for 0.8. Now, shift key again and the wheel of your mouse. I'm just going to change this to X-ray. And draw another circle. And snap the center. Type D for diameter option and enter 11.4 for diameter. As shown here. And I'm going to check if it is... Yeah, and extrude this one downward for 1 unit. And I'm gonna check again, looking from front view. Yeah, because this one is metal and it's gonna be welded to these legs, so we're good. And this one is wood, so it's just sitting on top of that support, metal support. All right. So the next thing to do is move this. I'm just gonna draw a line, so just to make sure, from quadrant, from the quadrant here, so shift right click, look for the quadrant, and then shift right click again, quadrant of the outermost diameter, and enter. So I'm gonna use that as a guide to snap on the face here. So I'm just gonna erase this line. So select this object, move, and from midpoint, move it, and just hover on the side of this, the lower, there you go. There. See the plus sign? Oh no, this face here. And it's just gonna be trial and error. I'm just gonna change this to conceptual, bring this to front view, and it didn't snap to the right face. So what I'm gonna do is move this one and I'm gonna union these two first. So union command inside the solid editing panel, click these two and then move from the face. See that blue color there, the plus sign, and snap it to the midpoint. Shift right click and midpoint of the line. Now I'm gonna check again using X-ray and bring this to front view. Yeah, it looks like it's on the right place. And what I'm gonna do is change this to conceptual, turn this around. Yeah, And now it's time to, I'm just gonna remove that line. I'm just gonna minimize this one. Time to apply materials. But before that, you can apply materials on arrayed object. So explode first. So X for explode. Come on, X. Oh, first again, I have to do the ring. I'm gonna bring my this one here. These buttons, and it how many are there? 12, I think. And the radius for that is 0.5. So what I'm gonna do is copy the edge here. So inside the solid editing panel, click this drop down arrow and select copy edges. Copy this edge here, enter, use anywhere as base point, and bring your cursor upward for 0.75. There you go. And I'm going to change this to wireframe so it's easy to see the circle here that I just did, or maybe X-ray. So this one is what we need. Right click and select isolate object. So the others are out of the way. So I'm just gonna bring this to top view, and inside the modeling panel, click this drop down arrow and select sphere. And I think the radius, so click a quadrant here, and the radius is 0.5. And array the ring, so ER, and select array polar. Select the object, right click, and specify center point of array. Just hover over on the side, and once that plus sign shows up, just snap that, so it means we're hitting the center. And then right click, or you can go inside the ribbon, or I'm just gonna right click and select items, and the number I need is 12, and enter again. Now I'm gonna bring my hidden object, so right click anywhere on the screen, hover over isolate and select an object isolation. I'm gonna change this to realistic. Yeah, we're good. I need to explode this one before applying materials, so X for explode command, right click and select the buttons. Alright, now type in materials. Inside the Autodesk library, click that arrow and select wood. And I'm gonna select this wood here, any wood that you'd like. I'm just gonna use this one. It'll be easier. I'm gonna try selecting this one. I did union these two. So what I'm gonna do is bring this to front view, and just gonna slice this one. So go to solid, slice command, select this object, and just click from quadrant, move it to the left. As long as it's straight, click here, and when you go down to the command window, it's asking for specify a point on the desired side or keep both sides. Click that. Now these two are separated. Click that and click this wood to apply materials, and it doesn't look good. I'm gonna find another one, or I'm just gonna use copy this one, duplicate global, and then apply this to this object here and edit global. I'm just gonna change this to, rename this one first to tabletop. Alright, so click this pen icon and then click image and select materials. I have materials I copied from the internet. I'm just gonna use this wood grain and open. I'm gonna close this one first and apply, and as you can see here, there are lines here, so I'm gonna edit that again. So click that and then click the image and change the scale to 25. Enter, and you can rotate and close this one. And reflectivity, you can make it shinier if you want to. And then the image, you want to fade it or lessen the glossiness. So it's up to you. And then this one is also wood. So just select that and click tabletop. And for the leg, click Autodesk and select metal. And I'm going to select zinc from the very bottom. So select this one, click the arrow, and select the object, this one, and apply zinc. Go to visualize, and I'm just going to apply or adjust exposure setting. There you go. And apply zinc for this one too. And for the button, I want it shiny, so I'm just gonna duplicate. So right click, duplicate, and apply this one here, and edit, and click this arrow and select chrome. Maybe chrome is too shiny. Semi polish. There you go. Yeah. And what I'm gonna do is just match properties. So type in A and select match property. Click that and click all the rings, not rings, buttons. And enter. And this one I'm gonna apply sync to. So I'm just gonna close this one here and select that and select click zinc. There you go. I'm just gonna delete the circle and another circle here inside. I think I can see something white. Now what I'm gonna do is just union first and move the objects. So union, I'm gonna combine this one here, and this one, since we're gonna weld it together anyway. And one object, and I think I've touched this one, which is the wood. So the wood should be. So click tabletop, change this to wireframe, it's easier. So remove that line, another circle somewhere, there, delete that, and bring this back to realistic. There, I think it's all clean now. And go to solid. I'm just gonna close that, select fillet edge, and click radius option, and I think I'm gonna use 0.1, no, 0.2 maybe for this edge here and this edge. Enter and enter again. I should have done that before applying materials. See that color, but anyway, repeat fillet edge and enter 0.1 for this edge here, and again fillet edge, this one, and this edge, this edge here, there, and enter again. Now I'm gonna bring back materials, so type in materials and apply it here again, tabletop. There you go. Now we are done, and thanks for watching. I'm gonna close this one, and please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon to get notified for the next tutorial, and hope to see you again. All right.